Welcome back to Daily Dose. My name is Robert, and I'm on a hot one here with my pal Matthew. We're talking about all things regarding our film, What I Didn't Say, which is in development. Matthew's brilliant play. Now you can see more about the short film, which is in film festivals, and the screenplay waiting in development to be made into a feature, also in film festivals. Um, you mentioned going to conferences and seeing a lot of, and I've been a part of this. In fact, it's how I got some of my ability to be on stage. The feature of the people who do extraordinary things. If you're a doctor, yeah, that gives you something, right? You're going to get your research up there, and we know death by PowerPoint by the majority of doctors. God love y'all. Many of you are really poor communicators when it comes to, presentation. Not all. There are some good ones. Then there are the drug companies, and they're salespeople. They're doing their job, and fine. Again, God love them. They're doing the best they can to help. And then there are the people like Jimmy Choi, Bill Bucklew, myself, who get up there who have extraordinary stories. Jimmy's American Ninja Warrior, Bill's walking across the country, me taking dad on a 30 Major League ballpark thing. And like you said, there's a trap in that because for the majority of other people, it's one thing to yay, good for you. But then what about how does it serve the other people? And I experienced that with Boys of Summer. It's like, is that all there is? How do I kind of democratize, do more, reach more people? Talk about everyone else who, like you say, is just trying to get through the day and the potential negative effect of saying, but I'm not Jimmy Choi. I'm not Bill Bucklew. I'm not Robert Cochran. What is that?
Yeah. Well, instead of like tracking someone who has an extraordinary events in their life because of Parkinson's, at the moment they stop tracking, they they just sort of back away. Like I can't do that, so I'm not going to try anything. I'm going to give up. I can't do that, so I'm gonna, so whatever small thing they had in front of them, sometimes in these situations, like I'm not capable of that, turns into this Parkinson's patient that feels sad and uninspired and all the stuff. I also want to put a little thought in here that sometimes cautionary tales are the best. Our project does deal with good and bad emotion. And sometimes in real life, we go see a movie that's a cautionary tale. Like, I don't want to do that I just saw on the screen because that's going to be bad. So I'm not saying that we should write a cautionary tale. I'm just saying that that's a very interesting thing to me in the sense of what if, hearing what not to do. It's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, back to our point that that's my theory. People track along until they can't, until they don't want to, and then they shrink back. There's not more of this. There's just this, and
Yeah.
so any progress they made is, out the window.
So you hit you're doing a great job of hitting things today, my man. You're batting, you're right there. You're stroking them. Number one, you described demoralization, which we talked about earlier, just in that the feeling of being demoralized by not being what the picture of Parkinson's is supposed to be. You're supposed to be. And Paul actually does that. There's a line in there where he talks to Marty and he's saying exactly that, talking about, you want me to be, Michael J. Fox. Well, I don't feel like a lucky man. And I don't know, that's more in the play than the movie, but the sentiment is still there.
Yeah.
How does that person continue to engage in their everyday life without being seen, needing to be seen as a hero, a patron saint of Parkinson's, as it were? And
It's funny you bring that up because I don't mean to cut you off, Robert, but I believe in a concept called mini habits. All right. So mini habits, a popular book. The whole idea is I have a habit of doing one push-up a day. And if I do one push-up a day, I've satisfied my requirement for that day. But usually while I'm down there, having gotten into the position of a push-up, I do a few more. So what I tell audiences is look for mini meaning in your life. Mini meaning, like, send one text to a family member and just let them know that you love them. And you care about them.
Yeah. Bite-sized reality. And like you say, giving yourself the chance, right?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
goes back to what we were saying earlier about not living in a polarized society, which is hard to do because that's how we are. Things are either great or they're horrible. And we don't often live or give credence to the day to day, the what, I'm doing okay, and that's enough. I don't need to be doing great. I don't need to panic about doing horrible. I'm
yes,
doing it. I'm doing enough. Where does that line up? I wonder. And that goes beyond Parkinson's, well beyond
yeah,
Parkinson's.
yeah. Of
That's a
course.
societal issue for who
Yeah.
we are and how we're driven. Um, but I
But the
had
solution
something
is I'm going
else.
to write a book. I think
Yeah.
that's I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book about my life. That kind of sentiment. But then you don't do that. You don't
Mhm.
even write a chapter. You don't even write a paragraph. There we go. There we go. And one of the big benefits of taking your class, by the way, Robert, is a step-by-step process of with encouragement and peer feedback and help from you. Man, it makes all the difference just knowing how to do something. But
So I'm really glad you brought that up because we're going to come up with that in the next dose. And this is going to be, I think, a bit of a love letter and maybe an encouragement to really all those people who have taken cinema therapy classes or day one as they were previously known, because there's something in that, what we were just talking about, that deserves more discussion. We'll talk on the next dose. See you in a minute.
yeah.